let's take a look at Snake Eyes. Now, when I was a kid, Snake Eyes was my second choice. If I was able to get 2 figures, it was not going to happen that day, so I ended up with just Flash, leaving the JC Penney's that night with my mom. So for this particular action figure, the cover grade is a great homage to the original comic book. It has Snake Eyes on the front, issue 21 or March. This particular figure only cost me $3.99 at Ross. There were 3 different ones to pick from. I picked this particular one. The other ones was like a really bright blue, and the other one I can't remember at this point. But out of the 3 I saw, and I could have got all 3 for $3.99, but I like to leave a little something for other people sometimes, you know. So it doesn't have his file card on the back, which is kind of disappointing. I really thought it was going to have something. It just has an excerpt from the comic book. If memory serves me, this is the silent issue, although I really thought that came along much later. Okay, so on the card, it's got pretty good artwork, I think, but it really does lack that card on the back, which really would have pushed it over the edge for me. I still want to preserve it, so I'm going to be very careful opening it up. I have an idea. Since my fingers are not that tiny, and the more you bend a card, let me see if I can saw it with the ruler. It seems to be okay. I mean, I could have used something a little bit sharper. That'd be nice. All right, so we kept the card, and from off the card, let me try to keep this from trying to slide down over here. We get our Snake Eyes. He is being held down, being detained against his will, or maybe he did like it. I don't know. So I'm going to take that off, and I do want to keep the card, or the rubber bands. You know, because you ever had to put your hair up on a hot day? These rubber bands come in really handy for that, you know, with my long flowing hair. All right, I'll kick it off later whenever you aren't looking. All right, straight off the card, you find out that this is not your typical G.I. Joe with all the articulation that the original Joes have. And that's one of the reasons I kept a G.I. Joe out to compare it to. So if this was your first video, you'd be like, what are you talking about? What's a G.I. Joe? All right, so let me get out one of the originals. My favorite one from my childhood, Zartan. And I don't know why he's so floppy, but it's just because he's really old. He is the exact same height, although for some reason I thought these were going to be taller and skinnier. But however, the original articulation, the original didn't have the bicep swivel in the first view, but Zartan was part of like wave 2 or 3, and he definitely has the bicep swivel. These guys don't have anything but 5 points of articulation. It's the head on him goes around 360 degrees. The arms go around 360 degrees. The legs, he can fully sit down, but he cannot kick all the way back. So if somebody's behind him, he's going to have to kick him like this, like, psh. All right. He comes with 2 weapons. There's nothing on his body that suggests weapon storage, which is kind of a shame because so far I've had figures like this one who has the storage on the back. Well, and that's the only one, but it wasn't one of the first ones I've opened over here. He comes with a Uzi. At least that's what I remember we called it back in the day. Nowadays, like people call it, give them all kinds of different names. I am not a big fan of guns. It's not like I'm a gun control person at all, not even remotely, obviously. I prefer melee weapons like swords. So let's take a close-up of that Uzi, or SR, whatever. And let's also take a look at his face, because it doesn't look like he has got one color here. He's got at least 2 colors here. He's got painted on the visor, and then gray on top of the darker gray. The original one was black, so it's kind of a little bit different. So he's got a lot of dark tones, which is of course what he needs to have. And then of course his sword has painted metal. Looks really good. So I really wish he had a holster for his sword in his back. That would have been really a really good part. That at least they could have put it on there. They put it on Lego figures. All right, so he is 3 3/4 inch tall, and if you're in another country, he is only about close to 10 centimeters tall. There, yeah, very close to 10 centimeters tall. I suggest if you want to pick yours up at Ross, you better rush to Ross today, because these are going to sell out before this video even airs, probably. But you know, some Rosses are later than others. Maybe you'll still be able to grab some. I grabbed about a dozen different ones, and let me know which one's your favorite. Comment below and have a great day.